everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. I am excited to share with you all about rune stones. I've actually done a lot of research recently because I'm trying to get to know how to use these things. I recently purchased these at one of the spiritual shops I like to go to in Collingwood called the Awaken Spiritual Store, and I wanted rune stones for a while. I actually first originally got witch runes, which are a little bit different. They were handmade clay runes. They're really cool. But I wanted to get definitely like the, I don't know if I would say original. I'm assuming these came first. I don't actually know. That's probably something I should look into. But I wanted to know more about the most popular, well-known set of rune stones, where they originated from, a little bit about their history, and I'm also going to get into how to use them. And it's definitely something I'm still learning, but I thought it'd be cool to kind of, learn together. I've always found that like during school and just like in life in general, when I teach other people and I talk about things, I actually learn better. It's kind of like I'm also teaching myself in a way when I do these kind of videos, and it's just like fun to learn together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, let's get started. So I did quite a bit of research. I've read quite a few books in the past. Like I don't actually own a runes book per se, but I've kind of peeked in a few books here and there in different bookstores, and I've also read a lot online. One thing I noticed is that all these resources say the same thing in that they don't 100% know for sure where runestones originated. There's a lot of different theories and ideas of where they came from, but we don't know exactly how they came to be about. But we do know that they were used by the shamans of Scandinavia. The runes were actually protective symbols that were carved in wood, bone, and on stone. So the runic alphabet, which is also called Futhark, I hope I said that right, but it's actually a writing system of uncertain origin that was used by German peoples of Northern Europe, Britain, Scandinavia, and Iceland from about the 3rd century to the 16th or 17th century AD. So they've been around for a very long time. So scholars theorize that this runic alphabet was actually developed by the Goths, which were a group of Germanic people from the Etruscan alphabet, again I hope I said that right, of northern Italy, and it also could have been influenced by the Latin alphabet in the 1st and 2nd century BC. So it looks like it has like a lot of different influences coming from different parts of the world. The runestones I'm actually talking to you about today has 24 rune stones. Now this is the Old Germanic runic alphabet, or Elder Futhark, which contains the 24 rune stones. So there's different takes on rune stones, there's slight variations, but that is the most well-known collection of rune stones. So fun fact for you guys, according to Nordic mythology, Odin, father of Thor, actually discovered and invented the runes. Now I'm just gonna backtrack a little bit. So there was that theory about how the Goths were the ones who created the rune stones. But this is actually being questioned because there's early inscriptions from Norway and Denmark which can be dated back to the 2nd or 3rd century AD, which means that their invention, their distribution, and rise in popularity basically would have like spread by then. It would have been already underway for some time. So that's where we run into issues, because we see little hints all over the world. We see these rune stones being written and used in so many different places, so it's really hard to get to the core of like where were they created, because it seems like everyone seemed to have like a part in it, and things just made their way around the world so much. So rune stones have been used for centuries for divination and magic. Now I've tried to find like the original group of people or the original place and time when runes started being used as rune stones for divination and for magic, and not just for like an alphabet or communication or like protection on things. But I couldn't seem to really find where that originated per se, so I don't really know at what point rune stones kind of like transitioned to like a practice in witchcraft. So if anybody has any more information in there, please leave it below. But I googled and I for some reason just could not find it, and maybe we just don't know. However, I did read that rune stones are very popular among pagans. Now I don't know if this is still true or if this is more of a like a historical, if maybe they used them a lot back then, but maybe modern pagans don't use them as much. So if any pagans want to comment below, let me know. That would be really interesting. But yeah, I heard that pagans are actually one of the main groups that used or still use rune stones. Now, how do you use rune stones? Well, there's so many different ways to use them. The rune stones that I got came with a little book that kind of told you how to use them, but there's so many other ways to use them on the internet as well. So some main things that I noticed here is like when you use rune stones, you kind of want to go about it the same way as if you were using a tarot deck or if you're doing magic. There's certain processes in place that you need to do to protect yourself and ensure that you are working with good energy and all that stuff. So the first thing to do is to cleanse and charge. So you're going to cleanse the stones. You might even cleanse the area of any sort of negative energy. Make sure there's only pure light, pure energy. And you're also going to basically charge or cleanse your stones. Charging means like you can put them out in the sun, or you can like charge them under the moon, or you can maybe charge them with, I don't know, like some other crystals or something. Like there's so many different ways that you can charge things. Basically the same way you charge your crystals, you can charge your stones, because it is like, it's a rock, right? So it's another crystal basically. So the next thing a lot of people who use rune stones do will actually call on a deity or a god or a goddess, whoever they feel like calling on, or maybe it's a spirit guide. Basically you're calling on somebody to give you, I guess, support. Not everybody does this though. I personally am not super into deities. I think it's interesting to like learn about others, but yeah, some people are really devoted to a certain deity or a goddess and they like to call on that, or they sometimes, certain people will call on certain deities or goddesses depending on what they are after, because there's different goddesses for different things. There's goddesses for, you know, health, there's goddesses for beauty or prosperity or freedom or whatever it may be. There's earth goddess, there's so many different types of goddesses. So that's why people tend to do that when they're doing a specific working. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to clear your mind and ask a question. The clear mind is definitely the main thing. I personally find that if I try to do a tarot or oracle card reading when I'm not of clear mind, like when I'm really stressed or upset or something, then I don't get a clear and accurate reading. And usually the cards make zero sense. So you definitely want to go in with a clear mind, and then that's when the messages make sense. That's when you get a card that's more accurate and actually helps you. Otherwise you're just kind of like, wait, this has nothing to do with anything. And it's usually when you're pulling a card or I guess rune stones when you really shouldn't be doing that. So you want to make sure you're of clear mind. If you need to clear your mind before, you could always do like a meditation, do something that will relax you, get you in the mood. Now there's different ways to pull the stones. I figured before I get into that, I'm just going to go through each rune stone so you know exactly what they look like and what they mean. So let's go through those. So I'm going to put the names of all the rune stones on the screen for you to see, because I do not know if I'm pronouncing any of these correctly. So the first runestone is called Fehu, and it is the runestone for luck, money, wealth, and abundance. So the second one is Thurisaz, and it is the stone of catharsis, change, and cleansing. Next we have Rado, which is travel, journey, and relocation. The fourth stone is Gabo, and it is balance, partnership, and gifts. Then we have Hagalas, and it represents disruption, testing, control, crisis. Isa is for challenge, frustration, standstill. Iwaz represents strength, reliability, and trusts. Algiz represents protection, guardian, status quo. Tiwaz represents honor, justice, and leadership. Awaz represents progression, harmony, partnership. Leguz represents renewal, birth, and motherhood. Dagaz represents awakening, awareness, and enlightenment. Uruz represents physical strength, potency, and vitality. Ansuz represents insight, vision, and wisdom. Kanaz represents revelation, creativity, and passion. Wanzhou represents joy, comfort, and pleasure. Nalthiz represents conflict, confusion, and patience. Jera represents happiness, peace, and hopes. Perthro represents hidden meaning, fellowship, and initiation. Sowelo represents success, goals, and honor. Burkana represents fertility, growth, new beginnings. Minaz represents intelligence, forethought, and skill. Ingwaz represents common sense, caring, and love. And Othella represents inherited possessions, heritage, and fundamentals. I forgot to mention to you guys that I also happened to get a blank rune stone in this collection. Now, it wasn't actually described in the book at all, so I thought that maybe this was a mistake. And then I realized, you know what, maybe there's some more meaning to this. And one of my friends, Laura, actually noticed that she had a blank rune in her set too, and hers was a completely different set. So I thought maybe I'd look into this more. So I decided to Google this, and the blank rune is actually a message to look to the inner self. The blankness of this rune is actually an invitation to go deep within. For the forces that are moving unseen in the background are forces you have to put into effect. The forces represent the culmination of your life's actions to that very moment. So there's different ways to do rune stones, just like there's different spreads or different ways to read oracle cards and tarot cards. You can do that with rune stones too. So some people will actually just keep the rune stones in their little bag, and what they do is they reach in and they pick a stone out. So you can do like a single stone pull, you can do a 4 or 3 stone pull, and then you can interpret them that way. Or what you can do is you can actually toss the rune stones on a mat that has like the circles in it. So that is like the most common way to use rune stones from what I see, is to toss the stones, and that's the way that I have been practicing when I've been, you know, trying to learn them. It is really tricky, I have to say. Interpreting rune stones is a lot more like ambiguous, and like it's just trickier than I feel like interpreting tarot or oracle cards. But yeah, the way that they explain it on this book is to draw 3 circles. So basically the inner, middle, and outer circle. So the inner circle represents self, the middle circle represents influences, and then the outer circle represents future events. So basically you would take your rune stones, you take them in your hand, you shake them with a question in your mind of what you're looking to get an answer or clarification on, and then you're going to toss them. And however those stones land within those 3 circles is going to dictate how you're going to interpret them, basically. Of course, you want to interpret it relative to what's around it too. So like the other stones that are going to be laying on your mat or whatever you're tossing your rune stones on, the other stones that are in the vicinity of it and where they are is also going to tell a story. So you kind of want to interpret them all together. Like I said, there's so many different ways to do this, just like oracle and tarot cards have different spreads. When I first started using rune stones, I actually was using something else, and I'll show you guys. Now, I don't have a mat per se with the 3 circles, although you can just draw it on a piece of paper. When I was doing it, I actually was just kind of tossing it on this. Now, it's not 3 circles per se, but I was kind of going based on like, this is a circle, this is a circle, and then anything outside that. Also, like when picking your rune stones, obviously pick something that you're really drawn to. I really like this stone, but pick something that you like. There's so many different ones. I've seen ones on like little pieces of wood. I've seen them on clay. I've seen people make rune stones too. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. I just find it so fascinating learning about these things, especially since they're practices that have literally been around for thousands of years, and people, like communities all around the world have contributed to this. It's just like really fascinating to me. I think it's really cool to learn about the history of it. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I would honestly truly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Honestly, I would love to have you be a part of this family, this growing family, where we just talk about witchy things and spiritual things and self-help and a whole bunch of other stuff. And sometimes we just do really fun videos for the heck of it that make no sense, but like it's just like whatever I'm in the mood for making. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.